Hello and welcome to a short video introducing the electronics quiz app. This is a piece of software that you will probably be spending quite a lot of time with over the next 10 months or so. So when you log into the electronics quiz app, you will be presented with a login page like this. You just log in with your standard university username and password and press this button to log into analog electronics and physics questions, or this button for the digital circuits questions. I'll illustrate using the analog questions for now. That gets you to this index page. Now you'll see at the moment there are 3 topics. There are in fact a total of 28 topics on the analog course, but I'll be introducing them one by one as we go through the module. Don't want to scare too many people off right at the start. This is a histogram which will show you the scores that you have achieved on the topics so far. At the moment you'll see there are no attempts found at any of the topics, so all of the marks are 0. There is no real significance to this red dotted line here. It's just a good target to aim for. Everybody should be capable of getting the marks on all of the topics above that red dotted line. The higher you can go, the better. There are a few links up here at the top. You won't have the supervisees or tutorial group links on your quiz app. They're just to allow me to quickly see how my supervisees and tutorial group students are doing. You will have the help button, which will take you to a screen from which you can play videos. I'm still in the process of making those. And you can, of course, log out, and that will take you back to the login screen that we saw earlier. To go to start doing some questions, you can either click on the topic link here or click on the corresponding section of this histogram. I'll do some Ohm's law questions to illustrate how this works. Click on there, and that takes us to the question page. Now, few things to note here. It says you have 10% extra time. Some people have disability support plans which allows them to have additional time in any timed assessment, and you would get that additional time on the quiz app as well. If you think you might be eligible for this, then go and see the University Disability Support Team. They will put a support plan in place. As soon as you have a plan, let me know and I can register you for extra time on the quiz app. The index link takes you back to that, takes you back to this table here. The help link takes you to a screen from which you can play some tutorial videos and with some links to other support information on the quiz app. Report issue allows you to send an email to me, or you could just use any email program. Please let me know of anything odd that you find the quiz app doing. The quiz app is a fairly large piece of software, and it's likely that there are a few bugs left in it. If you find a serious bug, there are rewards in the form of bonus marks. So please do report anything that seems odd. If you want to report a problem with a question, make sure that you include the question number. That is this field here. It's all X's at the moment because we haven't selected any questions. But as soon as we do, the field becomes a series of numbers. And that is what to report to me with any question you have. Start starts a quiz run. A quiz is a series of 6 questions, and the average score that you get on those questions is the mark that you get for the quiz. I should emphasise that you can take these quizzes as often as you like. That is in fact the whole point. We want you to get practice doing this. And you should find that the more practice you get, the faster and the more proficient you get in answering the questions. If a question proves too difficult, you can always hit the show answer button. That will show you what the answer is. And you can do as much practice as you like, just looking at practice questions before you start trying to do a series of 6 questions in one quiz. So let's have a look at a practice question. A particular look at this green circle here when I press this practice question button. It went down to 50. Why? Well, this shows you the number of marks that you would get, the percentage, in fact, that you would get if you answered the question correctly at this time. You have a limited time to answer these questions, so after a certain time, this will begin counting down. And that means that the marks that you can get for this question, if you take too long to answer it, will also count down. It's just like an examination, there's a limited time that you have to answer the questions. Now, it can get quite stressful if you're trying to answer questions against a clock like this. That's why this little checkbox here is there. You can just click it and the countdown clock disappears. You can breathe a sigh of relief, calm down, and then concentrate on answering the question correctly. I should point out that it's a very good idea to make sure that you are answering the questions correctly. Let's have a look at what happens if I don't. I'll look at this question and I will get the answer wrong. The available marks halved. If I get it wrong again, they halve again. And every time you get the wrong answer, the available mark halves. If I finally get the right answer, which would be in this case, let's see, 10 pico times 1 meg. Now, I could do that on a calculator, but there is a calculator built in to the quiz app, built into the answer box. So if I know that the answer is 10 picoamps multiplied by 1 mega ohm, I can type in here 10 pico times 1 meg, and the calculator will work it out, submit the answer, and I get a nice big pat on the back with my green tick, and I've got the answer right. I've got 8%. Not particularly impressive, I'll admit. If I do another one, and I just do 40 nano times 50 ohms, as you can see, with a bit of practice, you can get much higher marks. And that's what we want. Now, you can only get a maximum of 50% if you do these very simple questions. If I move up in these levels, then the number of marks that I can get on questions increases. And if I wanted to get 100%, I would have to be doing level 4 questions. Level 4 questions are difficult. That is a level 4 question. I will leave you to think about that one. I'll move down to level 2 to do a demonstration run through a quiz. Now, to start a quiz, you just press the start button there. Okay, so first question. What value does the unknown resistor have? Well, that's going to be the voltage, which is 170 micro, divided by 2.267 nano. That's fine. Now, you'll notice that it says close enough. The expected answer was 75k, and that's due to sort of rounding errors. We only know the current to 4 significant figures. And that means that the answer that we're going to be calculating for the resistor cannot be perfectly correct. But there is a range of values that the quiz app will accept for this exact reason. You cannot calculate these kind of things exactly. And the quiz app is telling us, yep, we're close enough to the right answer. It would be almost impossible to get the exact right answer in problems like this in some cases. Second question, what the voltmeter reads, well, once again, it's the current, 8.8 nano times the resistance. That's fine. Third question, unknown current, that would be the voltage divided by the resistance. And the fourth question is This time it's the voltage divided by the current gives us the resistance, and so on. And the fifth question, which of these components obey Ohm's law? And the answer is D, resistors obey Ohm's law. Fine. And now, sixth question, the final question. What is the capital of Peru? Well, the answer is in fact none of the above. The capital of Peru is of course Lima. So that would be E, absolutely correct. And our quiz result is 65%. Now, the database will automatically store your final quiz score, or at least it will try to. If something has gone wrong with the network connection, it is possible that the quiz app will not be able to store your quiz result. In that case, you will get an error message here. Take a screenshot of that and email it to me, and then I can input your quiz score into the quiz app manually. Right, I think there's only one thing left that it would be worth talking about. Let's reset and get another practice question and just show you. And that is this green box down here. This is a scratchpad for doing calculations. There is a calculator in the answer box, but for some of the more advanced problems, it's hard to do all the calculations that you need just in the answer box. So this is provided for additional work. You can click and get one of these cursors and then just start typing. 12 plus 34 is 46. The sine of 45 degrees is 0.7 over 7. 1 divided by 1 plus the sine of 45 degrees is, and so on. But it's a little bit more intelligent than that. Firstly, it understands SI multipliers. It knows that 3 milli is 0.003, which can be quite useful. And it can also assign values to variables. For example, we know that the voltage here is 36 micro, so I could type that and assign that to a variable V. I know that the resistance is 56. I know that Ohm's law says that the voltage equals the current times the resistance, and therefore the current, I, is the voltage divided by the resistance. I can type that, and it knows that V is 3.6 times 10 to the minus 5, and that R is 56, and it can retrieve those values and work it out. And then in the answer box here, I can refer to these variables. I could type V over R in here, that would be fine, or I could just type I, and it would retrieve the value from the box down here and input it into the answer box there. This can be very useful in some of the more advanced problems that we'll be looking at later on in term. There are a few things to be aware of, though. For example, I could say m equals 4. It's not going to like that because it's now going to get confused. It tells you SI multiplier m redefined, because normally 3m is 0.003. It's 3 milli, or 3 over 1,000. But if I define m as being 4, then 3m becomes 12, which is confusing. So it doesn't like you using, as for variable names, any SI multiplier like that, and it will give you a warning sign. Basically, if this whole thing goes pink, rethink what you've called your variables. Something has gone awry. If we go back to the index page now, we'll see that my quiz app has been registered. I have a nice bar on my histogram above the red dotted line. I've done one quiz, scored 65 at level 2. Right, I think that's all you need to know to get started. Good luck.